Yes, it is now working. So the class is being recorded. Though on your end, you will not see that it's being recorded. I see some people are telling me to record the class. You cannot view on your side, but on my side it is being recorded. Sasa let us start straight away. Let me open my book. Kwani hainipei option ya kushare all screen? Very good. So I hope you people can see my screen. May someone confirm whether they are seeing the screen, whether they are seeing introduction to Julia
Yeah,
programming.
it is clear.
Unaiona? Anybody to confirm whether the screen is visible? You should see my book, Introduction to Julia Programming.
It's visible.
Oh, sawa sawa. So today we start lesson 1. And I shared the course outline with you people. So you know today we should talk about Julia REPL. Then we should explore Jupyter environment, after which we shall touch on data types. And on data types, we are going to look at two data types, that is numbers and strings only, then variables. So we are only going to do 4 things today, and that one should take us 1 hour 20 minutes exactly. So we'll start on Julia REPL. So all of you, let us open the let us open Julia app. Let every person open his Julia app. Launch your Julia application. So here is mine. Kwenda juu na ile ingine, alafu weke curtain. Yeah, so I hope all of you have launched your Julia apps. Alafu mlango pia. Yeah, so here is my app. I have launched it. Now we are going to talk about Julia REPL. And Julia REPL is what you are seeing now. What I am sharing is called Julia REPL. This workspace, the workspace that you are seeing is what is called REPL. So why is it called REPL? That is what we want to look at right now. So it is called REPL because of the work that it does. Because of the work that it does. And this is what it does. The abbreviation REPL stands for read, evaluate, print, and loop. So we are going to look at each, starting with read. We are going to look at each function, starting with read. So read, the read part stands for just read. Yeah, so when you are doing anything in this REPL, when you are, let's say I want to calculate 1 plus 2, 1 plus 2, then you press enter, it gives you an answer which is 3. So what Julia has done is it has read your code, which is 1 plus 2. Then after reading, it evaluates, it works out that whatever you've instructed it to evaluate. In this case, we've instructed Julia to add 1 and 2. So that is what evaluation means. So it has evaluated. Then it has given an answer which is 3. It has printed out the answer which is 3. So that is what we call print. So in this case, Julia has done 3 things. It has read, it has evaluated, and it has printed. Now, after doing all that, what is given next here? You see what is given here is Julia again, and it is telling you that you can do the next operation here. The first operation is done. The first Julia operation is done. Now it has given you another place to work on a different operation. So we say it has looped. Looping is just the repeating of the process. So Julia, after reading, it evaluates. After evaluating, it prints. After printing, it loops back the process. It loops the process again. So here you can continue doing any other summation, maybe 6 plus 7. You see, it reads 7, 6 plus 7, it evaluates and it prints out the answer, which is 13. After that, it gives you another place to do your operation. So that is what we call looping, right? So that's the work of a Julia REPL. It is to read, to evaluate, to print, and to loop. Yeah, let's see. This statement says it reads the codes entered. After reading, after reading, it processes or evaluates. The keywords are in bold and in capital. It evaluates the entered codes and then prints the outcome. This process is looped infinite number of times. What I mean by that is you can do anything that you want, and Julia will continue repeating the same process. It will never end. It will continue repeating the process infinite number of times, endless number of times, right? Yeah, Julia REPL has 4 modes. Now we want to look at different modes that Julia REPL has. So what we are seeing here is all about Julia, 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 Julia. These are called shells. Shell 1, shell 2, shell 3, shell 4. So in shell 1, we see the word Julia. Shell 2, Julia. Shell 3, Julia. Shell 4, Julia. So that is the first mode of Julia. That is the first mode of Julia. It is called the Julia mode. It is called the Julia mode. So the Julia mode is the normal mode or the default mode in Julia. It is used to do various activities. For example, we have just used Julia mode to do addition and subtraction. I hope you also are playing with your Julia REPLs by doing those calculations in your Julia REPL. So this is what we call Julia mode. You do any calculation here, you do any programming in Julia mode. Then we have different other modes. We have what is called help documentation mode. This is used to ask for help. The way the name suggests, help. I use help documentation mode. I'm a help mode to ask for help. This mode is launched by pressing the equal the question mark symbol. So you can press the question mark symbol in your PC. Just press the question mark symbol. What do you see? You see the mode has changed from Julia to help. Help with a question mark. Now this is what we call Julia mode. We call help mode. I'm a help documentation mode. Yeah, I hope we are together. So what is the work of help documentation mode? Help documentation mode, its work is to help you with anything that you want. For example, you can ask for help. You can write, for example, Sam. After writing Sam, it will give you a documentation of anything to do with Sam that is present in that Julia, in your Julia REPL. Let's write another thing like let's write something like uh, sorry, let's write something like hmm, why is it not working? What I've done is I've cleared everything that was on the screen by just pressing Control L. Yeah, if you press Control L, you clear everything. Yeah, so you see what I've done. If you ask help for anything, for example, what I've written is all. All when we reach what are called functions, I'll tell you what all mean. All is just to know everything that you can do with numbers. You just write all, and then Julia will tell you the different things that you can do with numbers. So about help, that is what we do in help mode. You just ask for Julia. You just ask for anything, and Julia will tell you how you evaluate it. Then we have another mode. We have another mode called PKG mode, and this mode we used it in our last lesson. All of you used it in our last lesson, and we used it to add some packages in our Julia application. So the PKG mode, as I told you in the last lesson, and those who are not in the last lesson, this mode is launched by pressing the closing square bracket. This is the symbol for the closing square bracket, not the other round bracket, specifically the square bracket, the closing one. So if you press the closing one, you enter the PKG mode. And in the PKG mode, you can get the documentation of different packages. Like you can see what to do in the PKG mode. You can do different things, like you can remove packages, you can add packages, you can update packages. What we did last time was addition of packages. So let me go to Julia REPL and just launch the PKG mode. I said you press the closing square bracket. Let me, yeah, you see here it is written version 1.8 PKG. So that is the PKG mode. So in the PKG mode, if you enter question mark and press enter, it will tell you everything, the full documentation of the PKG mode, not full documentation, but some documentation in the PKG mode. So just do the same on your end. After launching the PKG mode by pressing the square, closing square bracket, press the question mark, then press enter. It will bring you here. Welcome to the PKG REPL mode. So in this PKG mode, Julia is telling you the things that you can do here. You can activate, you can add, by what all these that we are doing to packages. You can add package, you can build package, you can actually let me say the mostly used ones is add package. Then the other used one is remove package. Another one is update package. Then there is another one, status, to just know how many packages you have in you have already installed. So those are the most used ones. And the one that we used in our last lesson was add, to add a package. And what I said in the last in the lesson 0 is that if you want to add a package, there are two processes. And the first process is using the PKG mode that we are using right now, and then you just write add, then you write the name of the package that you want to add. Right now, you have all added plots in your Julia. You have also added iJulia. So let's just write add iJulia. And notice how I have written iJulia. It is case sensitive, so the capital letters must maintain and the small letters must maintain. I and J are capital, the remaining are small letters. So if you write add iJulia and then press enter, it will start adding that iJulia package in your Julia REPL. As you can see, it is adding, right? So I hope it won't take a lot of time. So if you have not added, it will add. But if you have already added, it will not add because you already have it. So what it will do, it will just update the one that exists in your Julia. And if the update is up to date, then it will not do anything. It will only tell you that no changes in the one that exists in your Julia. So that is add. We have added. So if you want to remove, you just write remove. If you want to update, you just write update. All right, you just write update. Then you write the name of the package that you want to update. Update iJulia. Then you press enter. So it is updating. Of course, it is already updated, so it won't do a lot of things. Oh, there is an update available, so it is updating. I believe on your end, it's also updating. I hope it won't take a lot of time because some of these updates and can take a lot of time. Yeah, I can request you not to update anything on your end. Don't update and don't add. I'm just telling you the process, but on your end, do not do that because it will take a lot of process, which I don't want. I don't want it to take so much of our lesson time. Then we are going to we shall go to another mode of Julia REPL. I don't know whether the update is over. The update is not yet over. Because the update is not over, let me just quit Julia and launch it again because I can wait for so long before the update happens. So we want to look at the last mode, and the last mode, as you can see, is the mode called shell mode. So this is a mode that will help the user access the previous shells. It is launched by pressing the semicolon sign. Yeah, let me go back to Julia. As I told you, you see all these things written Julia, Julia, Julia. These are what we call shells. So this is shell 1, shell 2, shell 3. So there is a mode called shell that can be launched by pressing the semicolon. Just press the semicolon in your PC. If you press the semicolon, you will launch the mode written shell. So after launching shell, the work of this shell is to help you access the previous shells because you cannot go back to the previous shells by default or by just clicking the cursor there. You can only go there by accessing through the mode called shell. So after clicking the mode called shell, you can press the direction buttons up or down to access the shells that you have. So let us press up because we don't have anyone down. If you press up, it will go to the 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 immediate shell before that one, which was five. You see, in our shell we had five. We wrote five. So that is what will be written there. If you press it again, you will go to the shell which had eight. All right. Now let us do some calculation and then demonstrate much on that shell part. So let me just write 8 plus 5 plus 6, then enter 19. Then let me write again 98 minus 23 again. Let me write 24 minus 12. Yeah, so we have different calculations here. Now we want to, let's say that you wanted to add 8 plus 5 plus 6 and again plus 9, for example. You cannot go back to this shell by just clicking there. What I've said is that you can access the shell by going to shell mode, and you go to shell mode by pressing semicolon. So I have pressed semicolon, you can see shell mode there. Now after pressing the shell mode, you press up button until you reach the one that you want to edit. Now we wanted to edit 8 plus 5 plus 6. And what did we want to add? We wanted to add 9. So let us add, oh, sorry. Let me just access it again. 8 plus 5 plus 6. Then we add 9. So you see, we have uh, we have we have accessed a previous shell using shell mode. Now you can also access it by just pressing the up button without even launching the shell mode. So there is a shortcut for that. You can access it without launching the shell mode by just pressing the up button. All right, and then you just press up button until you reach the shell that you want to manipulate. Now that is all about the modes that we have in Julia. We only have 4 modes. We have the normal mode, which is the Julia mode. This is the default mode, the mode that you just find there after launching Julia. We have the help mode, which whereby you press the question mark. After pressing the question mark, you type anything that you want to do, then it will help you do it. It will tell you some of the operations that you can do. We have PKG mode, which is launched by pressing the closing square bracket. And in the PKG mode, it offers you ability to add packages, to remove packages, to update packages, and other more instruction on different packages like activate, etc, status, etc. Then we have the shell mode, which just help you access the previous shells that you want to maybe edit, and that is what we have in the Julia REPL. So our lesson 1.1 is over. It was about Julia REPL. Now we go to the lesson 1.2, which is named Jupyter. Now, as I said in lesson 0, I said in lesson 0, yeah, sorry for keeping you people for so long without allowing you in. Now, as I said in lesson 0, that we are going to use what is called IDE. IDE is just an environment that will help us work well with Julia. This is what IDE mean. Integrated Development Environment. This is a software application that provides a comprehensive set of tools for software development. But we are not going to use IDE for software development. What are we going to use IDE for? We are going to use IDE to do the following. We shall use it to edit and run our source code mainly. Then we shall also use it to share documents that contain live codes. Now, in this part, this is whereby you will be using IDE to submit your assignment to me. The exercises and the assignments that I will be giving, you will be submitting them using the code that you will generate using the IDE. And the IDE that we are going to use is Julia. We shall use it to write equation, to do visualizations, and etc. So the specific IDE that we shall use for our classes is Julia Notebook. So I told you all last in lesson 0, we launched we went through the process of launching Jupyter Notebook, and we are going to do it again in this lesson. So everyone, just launch your Jupyter Notebook, and there are 2 processes of launching Jupyter Notebook. You can just press your window button, and then you'll see Anaconda here. After Anaconda, after clicking Anaconda, you'll see Jupyter Notebook here. So there's that process whereby you launch Anaconda first, Anaconda Navigator, then you find Jupyter Notebook there and you click it. But the shortest method is just go to Anaconda, then you'll see Jupyter Notebook already written there, and click it. So it will launch Jupyter Notebook. And this is my Jupyter Notebook. I hope all of you are seeing it. But we are not going to use this section that you are seeing here. This section is just used to launch this other section. Are you seeing this other section? Jupyter Notebook launch after launching the Jupyter, it will launch a notebook in your browser, the browser that you are using in default. It will launch the notebook there. So this is my notebook. What you are seeing now here is the notebook that we are using. We are going to use for these Julia lessons. Now, after launching your notebook, I hope all of you are following every step. In case we have left you behind, you can just tell me by unmuting your mic, and then you inform me. Because if you type, I may not see it because I may be in the presentation mode. So if you are left behind, just unmute your mic and tell me. If you type and I see it, then well and good. If I don't see it, just type. Huh? Yeah. So let's go back to the Jupyter notebook. Now we are there. So there is this part written new. I hope all of you can see this part written new. You can see my cursor is touching new. Click there. So after clicking new, you will see different options. Actually, Jupyter Notebook can be used for different languages. You can use it for Python, for Julia. That's why you are seeing two options here, Python and Julia. But because we are doing Julia, let us click on Julia. Now, after clicking there, Jupyter Notebook will open for you a working space. Now, this is a working space for Julia in Jupyter Notebook. Remember, you can you can work on Julia app, this one, on Julia REPL directly, but also you can work on Jupyter Notebook. Now, Jupyter Notebook is the easiest one because it is more appealing and it will offer us so many options that we will see as we continue with these lessons. So I hope all of you have launched the Jupyter Notebook and all of you have clicked new. Then all of you have selected Julia. All right. Now, the next thing you can see up here where my cursor is written Untitled 1. You can click there. Then you write the name of the notebook. So because we are doing Julia lesson, let us name our notebook. What can we name it? You can just name it introduction, or you can name it Julia lesson 1. Julia lesson 1. I hope we are together, every person. Rename. Why is it not renaming? Let me check the reason why the renaming is not working. Oh, I think in renaming a lesson, you are not supposed to write any number. You are not supposed to use any number. So let us just rename it Julia lesson 1, like that. Oh, now it is working. So you don't use a number, you don't use a character. So we are going to look at different things in this part. Just go to the first line. You see this line? This symbol means line, LN. Just go there and click and right click. No, you left click. You don't right click. You left click. Now you see the cursor. It is ready to receive any code now. Now let us do whatever we were doing in this REPL, in Julia REPL. We were doing some addition. Let us do the same here in Jupyter Notebook. Just write anything. 2 plus 4. Why isn't it not writing? Okay, 2 plus 4. Now, there is a difference. When working on Julia REPL, after writing your code, we were pressing enter. But in this case, we we don't just press enter, because if you press enter, it will go to the next line. So you don't press enter. You press shift enter. You can also press control enter. Now let me press control enter. What do you see? You see the answer, the output there. But there is no other line to work with. All right, you can see that there is no other line to work with. We only have the answer there. Now let us go back, just go back there and click shift enter. If you click shift enter, it will give you the output, which is 6, and then it will take you to the next line to work with, or it will loop. Now we know the meaning of the word loop. We can use it now to describe the repetition of the processes that is offered by the Julia REPL or by the Jupyter. So it has looped and it has given you a new place where you can do your you can write and the next instructions. All right. Now after writing your things there, whatever you've written there, now we can check on different different options that are available in Julia. You can see my cursor. In this place, this is the place where you save whatever you have done in your Julia notebook. For example, after writing everything that we want to write for this lesson one, you can come here and save it. It will save it in the same notebook. So when you open the Jupyter notebook, you'll find your Julia lesson one there. But again, if you want to save it in your files, and that is what we shall be doing for most of our Julia lessons, we shall be saving this notebook in a different file in the file explorer. Even the assignments you'll be saving in the file explorer. Then you send me that file, and that is what I'll be I'll be evaluating now. That is how I'll be evaluating you people. Again, you can just come to file, then you come to save as. Or this is where you save it in your file explorer. Come to save as, then you you enter the where you want to save it. If you want to save it in your file explorer, maybe the part written document, just write document here and it will save it there. You can download it. You can download. So here in downloading, you can download it as a PDF. You can download it as a Julia file. You see here written JL. That means you download it in JL file. That is a Julia file. So that is what we shall be using mostly, the download that we shall be using. But for your assignment, you shall be downloading it in this mode. You see my cursor in the notebook mode. So that I can also reload it in my notebook and see whatever you did. That is for assignment and for exercises, etc. Then we have this next one. This one is, as you can see, insert cell below. For example, you can see this line 2 or cell 2. If you come to cell 2 and then press the plus sign, it will insert another shell, which is an empty shell below the shell 2. So that is its work. We have this scissors sign. The work of the sign is just to cut. to cut or delete a cell that you are using. For example, the shell that we are currently, if you are there and you click the scissor sign, it will do away with the shell. If you click again, it will do away with the next one. If you click again, it will do away with the shell. So that is the work of that one. We have this other one. Its work is to copy the entire shell. For example, if we come to this shell and write different things, let me write things. Let me just write numbers. Yes. If you write numbers there and press enter, no, we don't use enter here. We use shift enter. Don't forget about that. If you want to write the numbers again, of course, these numbers are so many. You can just come there and copy. No, I've done a wrong thing. I have pasted instead of copying. So sorry for that. Let me just do away with this shell. Yeah, you can come to this shell, then you copy. After copying, you come to this shell and you paste. You paste by now clicking the next one, which is paste. You see, it has pasted the entire shell. Then we have this one, move selected cells up or move the selected shells down. So let us try the down one. It will move it down, then launch another shell here, right? Then instead of pressing the run, instead of pressing shift enter to run, you can also run it by just pressing this, by clicking here, run. All right. On interrupting kernel, we shall look this one later. Then you can also refresh the page or restart the kernel. If you restart the kernel, the current dialog will you will lose the current dialog if you have not saved it. Then we have this point written code. So I want us to use it right now. Just go to code. Then in code, you'll see one code, you'll see markdown, and you'll see heading. The ones that you want to use here is heading and code. Now just go to heading. Before going to heading, let us just, if you have written so many things in your notebook, just cut them, all of them, and have a fresh notebook. I believe you now have a fresh notebook. Go to the go to that notebook. Somebody is requesting to be allowed in. Wapi? Yeah, so welcome all of you. Let us go back to the notebook. Where is my notebook? Yes. Now, after coming to this notebook, I hope all of you have not done away with your Julia, where you opened your Julia app. We can just visit there again. So there is, if you type anything in the Julia REPL and press enter, Julia will try to read whatever you've written and it will try to evaluate it. The normal, its normal work is to read, evaluate, print, and loop. So it will try to read anything. For example, if you just type 9, it will read and then evaluate. And because there is nothing to evaluate there, it will just print the same thing, which is 9. So if you want to type anything and you don't want Julia to read that thing, then you use the hash symbol. If you use hash symbol and type anything, you see whatever I'm typing, and then press enter, there is nothing that will happen. Why? Because that is a naming symbol. Hash is used for naming or for giving titles. So in the Jupyter notebook, we can also use hash to name, to give title or heading. All right. Now, what you are going to do here is just type hash, and then there are different types of heading. There is level 1, there is level 2. Now, level 1 means you only write one hash. So just write hash. Then after writing hash, you write your heading. So anything that you want to do here, you write its title. For example, let's say we want to do some addition. Just write addition, addition. You see, after writing addition, then you pressed shift enter. There is nothing that is being given back as you are. There is nothing that is being printed out because you have directed it to you have told your Julia Repol or your Jupyter notebook that you are naming or you are giving a heading. So to make this heading even more beautiful and appealing, you can just go back to that shell. After going back to that shell, then come to this point written code. Come to this point written code and go to heading part. Click heading. After clicking heading, it will tell you that this is a level 2 heading. Level 2 meaning it has two hash. The first hash is the hash that you type, and the second hash is the automatic hash that comes after you click heading. You'll just understand that one later. So if you click OK, it will write that heading addition. All right. Now we don't want this hash that is visible here. So let me do away with this hash. Let me do away with this hash. Just write addition and come here, then type heading. So this is level 2 heading. I don't know why hash is also writing itself here because it will not be here. Mm, mm, uh, no, I will figure out why hash is also remaining after even creating that point written heading. Let me figure out. Let me figure out why hash is also coming there. I will figure out why hash is also remaining. I believe we should not have that hash symbol after clicking heading. Let's go back to, yeah, we are there. Now, after writing addition, then you can perform that addition that you want to perform. Maybe 2 plus 7, shift enter, you get 9. Uh, mhm, you get 7. Some of you may wonder what I am doing here. Actually, there are so many ways in which you can add in Julia. The first one is just write addition the way it is always written normally. Then the next one is just you type the addition sign, then introduce bracket and write whatever you want to add and separate them using commas. I've written 2 and 5, then I've written addition outside. So it will just inform Julia that you are supposed to add everything that is inside this bracket, right? So that is the second way of writing addition. So you see that one will help you when you have a lot of numbers too. to add or to subtract or to multiply. It will help you do that easily because after just typing, adding, and inserting the bracket, you just write those numbers the way they are, and Julia will add all of them, right? So that is addition. So this was our lesson 1.2. It was to tell you how work work out Julia codes in Jupyter Notebook, and also to inform you about different options that are available in this Jupyter Notebook. So I want you to follow this. You see, first of all, we launched Jupyter Notebook. So you have that tab up there. You see that tab where you launched Jupyter Notebook. You can go there. After going there, you'll find this page. If that tab is not there on your side, then you can just launch Jupyter Notebook afresh. If you cannot see that tab, it is just there on top of your browser. So if you come here, you will see the lesson that we were after naming the notebook. You can find it here. You see this one, Julia lesson 1. That is the one we were using here. This one, after renaming, we renamed it Julia lesson 1. You will just find it here automatically saved, Julia lesson 1. So the next time when you are coming back to Jupyter Notebook and you want to visit whatever you did in this lesson 1, you can just go to Julia lesson 1 and you will see the notebook there, right? Sawa sawa. So you can launch that notebook by just coming here and clicking it. But because it is already launched, let us just go back there. Now let us write a new title. Go to hash symbol. Write, for example, what should we do next? 1.3, lesson 1.3, we should tackle something to do with data types. So you can write data types, then make it a title, make it a heading. This is a level 2 heading. Okay, now we are in data types. If you press shift enter, oh my people, I've realized what was happening. The reason why the hash symbol was still there was because we were not pressing shift enter after writing the title. So you just go back to the title you wrote and press shift enter. So you see now it is very beautiful. It is looking like a heading now. Yes, now it's looking like a notebook now. Now you can see we were doing addition here. After addition, you can see now we want to do data type. It is now well organized. This is wonderful. Now we want to look at data types in Julia. So on data types, every programming language uses syntax, different syntaxes. So what we mean by syntax is just set of rules on how to write your codes in any programming language. There are always some set of rules that you should follow when you are writing different codes. Now, in data types, we have different data types, and the ones that we want to look at in this lesson are numbers. Let me give it a subtitle: numbers and strings. Strings. Yeah. and press enter. You know, when we press shift enter, you know, when we write hash, the Julia cannot process whatever you've written. It means it is a name. You all know that. So let us make this one also a title. Let us make it a title. Now you can write through hash to inform it that it's now the second title. Then go to heading. This is level 2 heading. Level 1 is the first one. Then press shift enter. Now data types, and under data types you want to look at numbers and strings. Then we start with which one do we start with? Let's just start with numbers. No, let me start with strings. So just write again another title, strings. The reason why we are starting with strings is because all along we've been doing addition and subtraction of numbers. So we can start with the strings so that you also know what string is all about. Just write hash and strings, then the title is created. Okay. Then press shift enter. String. Now, string is a type of data. What type of data is a string? String is a text. So we can that is what string means. String is the data type that is used to represent text. For example, if we are writing numbers, we can just write numbers the way they are. But what if we wanted to write the name of a person? What if we wanted to write maybe a message or a passage or a book or anything like that? We cannot write it by just default. Let me say, let me write Morris and press shift enter. You see, you'll be given an error, and the error reads Morris not defined. Why? Because Morris is a data type, and it is a data type that is called a text. It is not a number, it is a text. So to represent a text, you use what is called a string. You cannot write a text the way you write normal numbers. Because if we write any number and press shift enter, the number will be processed and printed out. But a name will not be processed and printed out just like numbers, because there is a different syntax, a different format for writing text, which is called string. Now, how do you write a string? You write a string by using speech marks. So just open the double quotation marks. Just open the double quotation marks. Then write anything now. Now write Morris. Press shift enter. It will write back Morris, because the Julia now knows the data type, the type of data that Morris is. It knows that Morris is a name and not a number. In we are going to say Morris is a string, so that you understand what string is. So Morris is a string and not a number. So for you to write Morris, you must write it as a string. And how do you write it as a string? By writing it inside the double quotation marks. So that is what we've done there. Now you can see Morris is written. Let me do another one. There is what everybody who does programming is always taught. The first code that every person is always taught when doing programming is to write a greeting. To write a greeting. And the greeting that we mostly write is hello world. So let's write hello world. Just write hello world. You can write it with a comma or without a comma, hello world. as a string. Now press shift enter. It will print back the greeting, hello world. Sawa sawa. So we can assign our string to a variable. For example, hello world is a greeting. Now let us write greeting and press the equal sign. No, that's not equal sign. And press equal sign. After writing greeting and pressing equal sign, now write hello world inside. After that equal sign. Actually, in this case, this is not called an equal sign. It is called an assignment sign. Assignment, because what it is doing, it is assigning whatever we want to write here to a variable. So, for example, if we write our greeting as hello world, hello world, hello world. Now, this hello world has been assigned a variable, and the variable is known as greeting. So if you press shift enter, it will print hello world. But what you are noticing is this hello world is being printed with the symbol, with the string symbol. We can say it is being stringed again. So if you want to have that hello world not stringed, then you use what we call print function. You print it. I told you one of the works of these things is to print. Of course, this is printing. It has printed automatically. But if you use the print function, it will draw these string symbols. Now let us use the print symbol, the print function. And print function is written in small letters. So we are using lowercase. Print. Just write print, then the bracket. Then inside the bracket, what are we going to write? Because we assigned hello world a variable called greeting, it is a greeting. So we want to print the greeting. Now just write greeting. No, because greeting was written in capital, you must write there in capital. Greeting. Then press shift enter. Wow, the miracle. It has printed hello world without the string symbol. So you've seen that. It has printed it without the string symbol. So that is the first thing we are going to learn in string in this lesson. The next thing we are going to learn in string will come in other lessons. According to the course outline, you can see there is a point where we shall do what is called string interpolation. We shall do what we call string indexing. Those one will come later. This is just to introduce what string is. Now let me just introduce what number is. Then after introducing number, we shall leave it there and continue in our next lesson, which is on Wednesday. And as I told you that we shall be having some storytelling also to break the boredom of just codes, just writing codes. We shall be having some story, a very beautiful story I'll be telling you people. Now we go to numbers. Just write your title, hash. After writing hash, write numbers. Numbers. Then go to code. Make it a heading. Okay. Shift enter. Very beautiful. Numbers. Now, under numbers in Julia, we have different. I am checking whether some people for permission. Yes, I believe everybody who requested to enter are here. those who missed can get the recording. So under numbers, there are different types of numbers. Now let's just type hash and write. You can just write in this notebook. This is why it is called a notebook. There are different subtypes. Just instead of just write different subtypes, because subtype is also a function. Huh. Yeah, subtype is a function. We shall see it in our lessons to come. So there are different subtypes of numbers. Now, when we say there are different subtypes of numbers, it means numbers is a super type. Now press enter. Now the first type of numbers that we want to look at is integers. Now you can create a title for integers. Just write integers. Let us write integers using small letters now. Integers. Make it a heading. Come here, make it a heading. Shift enter. Integers. So integers, you people learned integers in class 3 and class 4. And in class 4 or 5, you learned what is called a number line. Now this is a little mathematics. So if you're not a mathematics student, you can still cope with us because you learned this one in class 4, 5, 6. In short, this is just primary mathematics. You are taught what is called a number line, and in number line, you had numbers from 0, and on the left side there were negative numbers, -1, -2. Then on the right there were positive numbers, and all these numbers were all numbers. So that is what integers are. Integers are just positive whole numbers and negative whole numbers. All right. Now that is what an integer is. And in computing, we also have different types of integers. We have, let me show you one type. Just write 5 and press enter. Then write type type of 5. Now after typing type of 5, you are telling Julia to tell you, you are asking Julia to tell you what type is 5. What is 5? And Julia is telling you that 5 is an integer under 64 bits. Now this 64 bits will now this one will depend with the type of bits that your laptop or your desktop is. If your desktop is a 64 bits desktop, it will give you int 64. If yours is 32, it will give you int 32. If yours is 16, it will give you int 16. If it is 8, it will give you int 8. Now, the meaning of what bits means is just the power of of calculation that your PC has. For example, it in 64 means it can evaluate up to the 64th place value, the 64th place value. So it can give you, for example, a number like 1. huh. Yeah, for example, a number like 1, I don't know, the function I wanted to use is not working. So instead of just writing 1, it can write for you 1. Your computer can write for you 1 in this form. Zeros, let's say let's say these are 63 zeros, then the 64th one is 1. So if yours is 32, it can only go up to 32 place values. Let's say these are 32 place values. I've not counted them. We are just assuming. So these are different types of integers that you are depending on the PC or on the device you are using. If it is a 64 bits, it will give you 64 in 64. 32 will give you in 32. And with time, when we now reach function type, there is a there is a lesson we shall do, and the lesson will be called type system. In type system, I'll tell you people how to convert. I'll tell you how to convert a 64 bit into a 32 bit and a 32 bit into an 8 bit. Yes, etc. For example, you can have a 64 bit laptop, but you just want to evaluate things using an 8 bit system. Then I'll tell you how to convert that one. But why should you use 8 bit if you have a 64 bit? Of course, you should use the one that is most powerful, and the most powerful is the 64 bit. There are other bits which I doubt whether any of you can have. I don't think any of you have 128 bit. All of you have 64 bits. Now that is on integers, on numbers, I mean. So the numbers, we have integers, and integers, as I said, are just positive whole numbers mostly. Then we have also decimal numbers, but in programming we don't call them decimal numbers. We call them floats. So that is what we want to look at next after integers. Just write floats. The hash system, hash symbol, then write floats. Let's use capital because it is a subtopic. It is under numbers. Then make it a heading, a beautiful heading. Shift enter floats. Now floats are decimal numbers that have decimal place values. For example, 1. Remember 5, or let me just use 5. 5 was an integer. If we check the type of 5, the type was integer. Now let us check type. Just write type of 5.0. Now you know 5.0 and 5 are two different things. Type of 5 was in 64. Type of 0 will be told it is float 64 because it is not an integer. Integers are only all numbers. And this one has a decimal place, and the decimal place is the 0 one. 0 falls under 10th decimal place. So that one is not an integer, it is a float. So that is another type of number. Okay. Now in this lesson we are only going to look at integers and floats. In When we are tackling numbers again in our future lessons, we shall look at more types of numbers, because we also have fractions. They are not called fractions here. You shall see them later. Now those are floats. So let me, there is something. Under numbers, I think there is something I'm leaving out, which is very important. Let me just check out. Let me just check out on what I'm leaving out. Mhm. Mm, yeah, there is a very important thing I was leaving behind. So the reason why number types, you see, in numbers, even if you are not a mathematician, you must know number types when doing any programming, because many error messages, many error messages are always written in, are always given using number types. Many error messages are always given in number types, because you will try do something, then it will tell you that is, I don't want to create those errors here because it will create confusion. But when we reach the point whereby we shall doing functions, you will see how number types are, how error messages mainly uses number types to inform you of what to do. Uh, you can try working out integers, but you are told that whatever you have inserted there is not an integer, it is a float. If you don't know number types, you won't understand the error message. You won't understand the error message that you are being told. I'm trying to create an error, simple error using number types, because I don't want to create those errors that are complex. It will create a lot of confusion. I think we shall see that one in we shall see that one when we start tackling functions. So I think after tackling integers and floats, that one will bring us to the end of this lesson. And in the next lesson, we shall tackle the according to the course outline. So just to pass through whatever we've done in this lesson, just an overview of whatever we did in this lesson. In this lesson, named lesson one, in lesson one, we looked at what is called Julia-Repol, and under Julia-Repol, we explored the REPL, how it looks like, and this is how it was looking like. This, whatever you are seeing here, is the Julia-Repol. After exploring it, I told you about how why it is called a REPL. It is called a REPL because the functions that it is doing, and the functions that it does is to read. What does it read? It reads the codes that you've entered. Then it evaluates whatever instruction you're given. For example, if you want to add, it will evaluate by adding. After adding, it will give you the answer by printing. It will print out the answer. After printing the answer, it will repeat the process again to enable you continue doing more working. That repetition is what we call looping. It will loop and loop and loop severally, endlessly. REPL modes. We also looked at REPL modes, and I said that Julia REPL has 4 different modes. There is the Julia mode, which is the default mode, the mode that you find there after launching the Julia app. In that mode, you do any coding and evaluation there. Then we have a help documentation mode. Help documentation mode is the mode whereby you can ask Julia for anything and it will tell you. You launch the help mode by pressing the question mark symbol. Then we checked at another mode called PKG mode, which was being launched by pressing the closing square bracket symbol. And in that mode, you use the mode to either add packages, remove packages, update packages, or you can also use the package mode to know what you can do with package mode. You understand me? You use package mode to know what you can do with package mode by just what I mean is after coming to package mode, you press equals, you press question mark sign. Then if you press enter, it will tell you what you can do with the package mode. And these are what you can do with the package mode. You can activate, you can add, you can build, you can compact, you can develop, you can free. All these things can be done using package mode. Then another thing that we looked at in the package mode, in the mode, we looked at shell mode, and the shell mode was to help you access different modes. You launch the shell mode by pressing the semicolon or by just pressing the up button. Then you just move through the shells that you had used up there. After that, we checked at Jupyter Notebook, and under Jupyter Notebook, you all launched, you all created your notebook for lesson 1, and we named it lesson 1. We also checked at different options that are available in this bar here, option bar, where we can save our work. For example, right now we can save, just go to the save part and save whatever you've done in under lesson 1. It is already saved. If you want to save it in your file explorer, you just come here, file. But I want you to download it. I want you to download this lesson that this notebook that we've created. Just go to file, then download as. Then come to notebook. Just download it as notebook. Then it will download there. Now, anytime you want to access it, it has been stored in your. For example, mine has automatically been installed in my Julia folder. So yours can also, you can create a folder for Julia lessons. So you store all your lessons there. For example, lesson 1 is stored there. You can now go there and access it, or you can go there and load it back to Julia. Then that is the save. We have the add or the insert. This one can only be used to insert a new cell below the cell that you are using. Then we have the cut, delete any cell. We have the copy any cell. We have the paste, to paste whatever you copied in the in any cell. Then we have these cells for these ones for moving cells either up or down. Then you can run it by clicking here. But for in our case, we were running using Shift Enter. Then we add this part where we talked about code and heading. We shall look at Markdown and Raw with time. Today we are just looking at heading and code. Now we used heading to write the titles for our subtitles for our lesson 1, and the first one was addition, and we looked at how we can do additions. We looked at data types. That was the second heading, and under data types we had numbers and strings. Then we started with strings. After strings we went to numbers. After numbers, under numbers we looked at integers and floats. So that is all we've done in this lesson. the lesson one. I think it is over. It is over. I don't think. Now we can. Now I hope all of you have downloaded it. All right. So the same way we downloaded it is the same way you shall be downloading the assignments and the exercises that I'll be giving. For example, right now I want to give the first exercise, and the first exercise is this. Now this is the first exercise. There are two questions that I want to give for the first exercise. You can write it down. You can write it down in this notebook part or in that in your exercise book. The first one, install I want to tell you, I want to give you a package to install. So I don't know which package I can give you to install, which will not take a lot of time. Um, let me check a package that won't take much of your time. Mhm. Actually, there is a package called there's a package called Marquee. Yeah, there's a package called Marquee. I want you to add that package. Yeah, that is how we write Marquee. Add that package in your Julia. In your Julia, you can add it on Julia notebook, or you can add it using the Julia repo. Any can do. Now that is the first exercise. The second exercise, the second exercise is create, or let me just say recreate the hello world greeting. Now there are two exercises. The second one, recreate the hello world greeting and assign it to a variable. Let me just explain what I mean by that. Remember we created a hello world here. Then this one we created it and assigned it to a variable called greeting. So greeting is our variable, and what is under that variable is the greeting itself, which is hello world. Now do the same, recreate that hello world greeting and assign it a variable. You it doesn't mean that the variable must be greeting. The variable can be anything. It can be even letter X. X is equals to hello world. Now, remember hello world is a string, so when you are recreating it, recreate it as a string. Now, after doing this exercise, this is a simple exercise. You can even do it right now and send it to me right now. So this is how you are going to do this exercise. You are going to start another notebook, a new notebook. You go back here. After going back here, you come to new and press and click Julia. Then a new notebook will launch. After you've launched a new notebook, just come to Untitled 1 and title it as Exercise 1. Exercise 1. We cannot use numbers, remember, Exercise 1. Then rename. Then after doing that Exercise 1, after doing it here, after installing Marquee, anything that you will do here, after installing Marquee, you are going to write the greeting. After writing the greeting, you are going to save. Instead of saving, just come here and download as notebook. Then you are going to send me that notebook on my WhatsApp. So that is how we are going to do that exercise. As simple as that. Anybody who doesn't understand how, I shall explain to them. I shall explain to them later. You just tell me if you have not understood how we should do that exercise. So the two questions, just do them. Any difficulty, you will let me know. Now, for those who did not attend lesson 0, I gave a different method of installing a package. Remember, we were using package mode here to install a package, but in this, when using Jupyter Notebook, the package mode is difficult to use. So what we shall do when installing packages, you shall be writing, let us write, you write using PKG. PKG stands for packages. And remember, P is capital, K and G is small. So this is how you are going to do that exercise. I'm just telling you, I'm just giving you a hint. Using PKG, then press enter or shift enter, any that you want. Now, after that, you now use packages. How do you use packages? Just type pkg.add, then bracket, and then you write packages as a string. And as I told you, you write strings using the double quotation marks. So inside the double quotation marks, you write the package that you want to install. For example, I have told you to install Marquee. You write Marquee, then you install it. Sasa nimewafanyia exercise, but just do it for yourself again. It's taking too long, I don't know why. So that is how you are going to install packages using the Julia Notebook. Having said that, ladies and gentlemen, the lesson is over, and thank you for attending. You can leave now.